Welcome to Coach Soul, the podcast where we explore therapeutic ways to the best versions of ourselves. I'm your host, Steve Hudgins. I'm a licensed professional counselor dedicated to helping you navigate life's challenges. In each uplifting episode, we'll discuss mental health, relationships, self-care, emotional well-being, and personal growth, providing you with valuable insights and actionable tips to thrive. Join me and with my co-host, Evelyn, a therapeutic life coach, where sometimes we'll even welcome special guests to our show that share their experience and expertise. Whether you're looking to improve your relationships or find greater joy, you're in the right place. So let's embark on this transformative path together and discover a healthier and happier you. All right, welcome back to Coach Soul, Kenya. It's good to have you back. Torm was a guest, and for future upcoming, I'm excited that she's putting me in touch with her therapist that helped cure her PTSD. Wow. And so it's way to celebrate life, and I think that's a great segue of celebrating life. This past week has been a little heavy.
Yep.
The university that I teach at, and there was a professor that was there that was loved by a lot of the undergrad students. He was a psychology professor that moved on to another university, and we had found out that he committed suicide on Sunday.
Wow.
And it's tragic. The family finds, a gunshot wound, and what do? I mean, a lot of people get so heavy on life, and then we think, well, life is like an egg. We're frail. We're like a Humpty Dumpty that sat on the wall that just, broke into a million pieces. How do we deal with the subject of looking at facing death or our immortality here? Yes. And then we got AI coming on board and robots and everything else. I mean, what do you think?
Wow. I am so excited to be talking about death. What a great opening sentence. Because we talk a lot about life and how to live fully, or let me switch the how to allow life to flow. Because the truth is, we have no idea how. We're just doing our best here. At least is my intention. And death is part of life, Steve.
Right.
So, dear listeners, I am not going to go deep on suicide. I have so much to talk about it. I believe we get to a podcast just on that. I have personal experiences with that and close people that I love. And for today, I want to bring the perspective with you, Steve, that life is not just fragile, right? I hear so many people saying the fragility of life, I like to see life as the biggest gift. The only real gift there is to be alive. And as long as you are breathing, you could die. And I tell you what, a very good friend of mine, this sweet girl, was actually a flower girl. Just so you know, so I've been married for 19 years officially, and this girl right now, she has 3 beautiful children, and she got pregnant, and this sweet baby lived to be a few minutes. Oh. A few minutes. Of course, she was told that this pregnancy would be interesting and that the baby might or might not live because of her faith. She chose to believe God that this baby came to her for a purpose. And I'm telling you something. Yes, the baby passed, and it shifted the entire community. It shifted me. It shifted her. It shifted everyone in the life of this few minutes. This few minutes that the baby lived actually created a legacy. If I may use the word legacy, people around her, the church, I watch it. people shift into life is now. We only have this moment. We only have this minute. I watch her refer to, I'm a mother of 3, because she's forever going to be a mother of 3 versus I'm a mother of 2. And I could go on and on of my grandmother passing when she's 91. Look at the spectrum, right? And so you never know how many breaths you have. This is where I want to go in this podcast with you, dear listeners. You never know how many breaths you have. You never know how many days. And no, we're not living with fear and making decisions out of fear of not being here. But we are making decisions out of knowing that for sure, you have this breath. What are you creating in this moment? Because I tell you what, let me just complete this thought. I can see you're itching to say something. We are created in the image of God. Whether you believe that God is a father or not, we are. And let me tell you what that means for me. That we are creators. We are creators. And somehow we became consumers. But we are creators. Being created in the image of God is to create. We're here to create. We're here to live. We're here to the zest. If you're not feeling, you're not living.
It just seems like we avoid. That's the deal, you know, and it's funny because I learned about this professor. I'm on my way from my office to home for lunch, and next to me it pulls up a hearse with a casket inside, and it's like, okay, is this an omen? We can get caught up into these thoughts of, oh, this is an omen, or we start getting into situations. Well, who's next, or what's going to happen? You know, my guy who comes and takes care of my lawn had to go back to Mexico because his cousin passed away. And so here is 2-3 instances that's happening this week alone. But oftentimes I think we avoid the subject of just being where we are to live life to the fullest. I mean, we try makeup, we try facelifts, we try tummy tucks, we try a whole bunch of things so that we can try to live longer or look better. And as you say, we are creators. In other words, have we stopped inventing how to live life?
Correct. So based on that question right there, when we disconnect, and I will use the word generically with your permission, Steve and dear listeners, when we as humanity, we disconnect, the default is lack. We start seeing what's missing. I'm missing a loved one. I'm missing my youth. I'm missing my children. I'm missing money. I'm missing. It's when we disconnect, the default is the shadow. Now, shadow cannot exist if light is not there. So truly is a shift of perspective. This is why we allow emotions. We get to allow emotions. Go be angry. Punch the pillow. Go cry. Right. Lean in whatever emotion is coming up. That doesn't mean trust the emotion. Because if I trust the emotion and I believe that the emotion is true and it becomes my identity, then I'm a hot mess. And I am now speaking in first person. Because my emotions within the day, it's everywhere in the spectrum. And it's okay. I am a fully functional human and a light being at the same time. Let's go back to light. If I am leaning on the shadow when the things are not going so well, or the perception is not going so well, and it's only not going so well when I shift into consuming mentality, which the entire pop culture is consuming. Think about the reality of the students. May I speak with the students right now? which I consider myself a forever student, but I'm actually talking those that are in university, those that are, right? I remember being a little girl and going to my mom and saying, how many more years till I graduate? And I was like, oh no, third grade, fourth, blah, blah, blah. And it's like, it's just never going to happen. It feels like a rat race. And then what happens when you graduate? You have this debt or not, but let's say you do. Then you get a job. Then it feels like, is that all there is to it? Is that all that life has to offer? To study, 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 to work, work, work. Then what? So the invitation here is, again, I promise you that this is not just a cliffhanger that we're going to forget because we make notes when we talk, right, Steve?
Right.
We're going to talk about suicide because this is a different black hole, right? Completely different black hole. When life gets so dark that your brain flips. It truly, no one in love will do that to themselves and to their loved ones. So they are in they jumped a darker dimension, right? So let's just set aside.
And that is a different podcast for sure.
100%.
And
right?
I think what we should address here is that we know that we cannot escape from death. We just can't, right? And so unfortunately, we have that curse that we're going to die. We don't have the immortality. And when I think about that, my mind today is the day that my grandmother passed away 3 years ago. She would have been 101 this year. And so just talking with her, I love being able to talk to her each week. I miss her voice and being able to have, hey, how are you doing type thing. And I remember where she said she's just tired of living. And that's because, you're 98 years old and everybody around you is passing. It's the idea of aging. And I think that's what impacts us the most is that it's funny because as a kid, I want to grow up. I want to get out of here. I want to live life. And now we're adults. I don't want to do adulting. And so we're not satisfied. It comes across as we're not satisfied with life in such a way that as we age, how do we deal with this aging process of this death that's knocking at our door? But Kenya, I mean, we both have parents. My father has about 2 months left to live, according to what the doctors gave. And then, you have your own family situation going on.
Yes.
What can we tell our listeners about how to live life, even though we're maybe surrounded by death or we're surrounded by the thought of aging? What do you think about frequency in that manner?
I just came from spending beautiful time with my mom in Florida. We were talking about that just off mic. And my mom has Parkinson's disease. She has been living with that for almost 10 years now. And every doctor she has ever been is appalled. Like, wow, you are doing amazing, my mom. Am I? Because she's leaning into detoxing and being very clean with her diet and all the things, even more so than she was before. Steve, her emotions though, she can't help but to feel so sad and to feel disconnected and to feel, and I'm quoting her, right? So I noticed that as I was there with her and my son over the weekend for her birthday, her spirit lifted. And I want this podcast to be about that. It's not about our aging body. So I'm 46. Great. And you are 50 something, my mom, right? Whoever. The point is, the number does not matter if you're not actually alive. Hello?
Right.
Knock, knock, knock. If I go visit my mama and her spirit lift and suddenly her leg that was totally swollen, it starts to not being so hard. It's flowing. And then of course I do bring my magic and my love and my essential oils and all the things I do, and I am. But most important, we have control. Yes, we do. We have control over how we are connecting to the beauty of this moment if you choose to shift into the beauty. It is all perspective. You told me 100 times in this podcast, I heard at least 3 times you saying that when you were in the hospital, you picked up a call. You could have said, well, can't you see I'm in the hospital? I'm here surviving cancer and all the things. But it lifted your spirit to serve, Steve, because it's who you are. And this client will forever remember, if he can do that in a hospital bed, I can too. I can choose to shift and live my life in the sense that I feel alive. So in a frequency level, what I want to offer to you, dear listeners, what we want to offer you is truly look to the gift. Look at your life as a big classroom. What am I being presented with? The things that are hurting, it's probably things that you're resisting. The things that are hurting are things that you're resisting to see, or resisting to feel, or resisting to live it again because they're storied. I don't want to look at this because I already know what's going to happen. Oh, guess what? When you say I already know what's going to happen, your wish is my command. You said it out loud, so it's going to happen again. You're not giving the moment, the present moment, this breath, a chance. You're not giving it a chance because you already made up a story of how is it going to be. So my invitation for you, you don't understand. Blah, 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 blah. Every time I hear my clients say, but you don't understand, I already know he or she has a phenomenal story that he or she have counted 1,000,000 times to everyone, including in their mind. So I say, okay, I have 3.5 minutes to hear your story, or you can shift into the awareness that what you're about to tell me is a story that you're committed to reliving. No, I'm not. Okay, maybe up until now, you're not conscious that you're hiding behind this story. And I get that this is the best you can do. This has been your survival tool. And I commend you for that. I'm not saying you're hiding in a bad way. Stop hiding. No, what I'm saying is I love you, and I can only help you if you step into the light of possibility.
You know, let me put an analogy to this, because the only way that I can equate with what we're sharing here is when you think about the mind shift, right? Having gone through surgery, it's like you don't want to get out of bed. You don't want to move, because you move, it hurts.
It hurts.
But what do they do in the hospital? They want you up. Wait a minute, I just had surgery. I'm hurting here. I don't want to get up. But it's that physicality. Yeah, you have some pain. But if you accept, hey, I'm in pain, but I've got to push through this. And the more that I pushed and started walking around, the more strength that I gained, and the pain became less because I'm moving. Yeah. Life is about moving, not staying still over the woulda, shoulda, coulda, hadda. Yeah. You know, if you take a light, a match, or a lighter, or whatever, that flame does not have a shadow because it's the light. We should be able to be that light and be able to push aside these shadows that are there. So are we feeding the flame? So whatever power or thought process we're putting into is the energy we're going to get back. So if we put a lot of power to the negative, we're going to get overshadowed. So it's that shift of thinking. And it's like, okay, how do we do shift of thinking, Kenya? You know, we talk about it, and for you and I, it's easy to talk about because you and I have shifted, and
But it's not easy.
It's not easy.
It's not
Correct.
easy. I would not even allow you to say that out loud, because the fact that I have done a million times doesn't mean that the 1,000,001 is easier. It's just become a habit of taking another breath and allow that breath to be a different one. It doesn't mean I'm not in pain. Like you were talking, I was about to cry on camera because I saw my mama while I was there. We went to physiotherapy twice, and she literally asked my son to go back to the car and pick up a little cloth that she had so she can put in her mouth and scream and bite on it while they're doing physical therapy with her, because she had also knee replacement surgery. So while the physical therapist is doing his maneuvers, she's literally in so much pain. It's like, I don't want to move. It hurts so much.
Right.
And he's like, do you want to walk again?
Right.
So spot on. Pain in general, pain put us in this place of, don't touch me. Let me be here. I call it my shell state, like turtle state. Oof. And if you are there, dear listeners, I just want to send you so much love right now. I'm not telling you to force yourself out of the shell. I'm telling you to be aware that you are in that state. The awareness itself will shift into planting the desire that it is safe to come out. Because when we go to the shell state, we don't feel safe. We don't feel safe in our bodies. We don't feel safe in the world. We don't feel safe with other people. And it's a reflection of the trauma that is calling up to be healed. So it's not like, oh, I'm not strong enough. I wish I would be like Stephen Kenya because they did. No, it's not that. It's not you. It's your inner child. It's the one that was hurt. It's not the wise women 30, 40, 56 years old. It's not the wise men 35. I call a wise woman an inner child. When your inner child gets triggered, the one that got hurt, because even if you got hurt in your first marriage, that hurt is a trigger hurt from the childhood trauma. It didn't start there. I just want you to be aware that, oh, okay. So in you covering up, literally get a little blankie and covering out your inner child and say, hey, I know you're trying to talk to me and I'm here. You're safe. That would be a phenomenal step of acceptance of who you are, where you have been, and where you've been called to go next, which is self-love. Love for yourself, for all versions of yourself, instead of, dang it, I shouldn't have done this. I wish I blah, blah, blah. The should have, would have kill self-esteem.
It does. And it's, I know we've had pain and we don't want to deal with pain. It's like getting your blood drawn. Do you sit and look at the needle going in, or do you turn your head because you don't want to see it and you know? So I find it fascinating when I saw this reel, and this guy has his hands on the table, but he has one arm over a board. And the man comes around and covers his whole entire existing arm with a towel. So you have this fake arm that looks like it's his arm.
I see that one too. I saw
right?
that.
And so, so what happens is that he'll tap his real arm at the same time the fake arm. Your brain is tricked into thinking this fake arm is now yours. And so if you poke a needle to the fake arm, you think, ouch, on your real hand. oftentimes I think we have illusions that we created in our life that things are worse than what they really seem to be. And I'm not trying to discount the pain. I'm not trying to discount that what we're going through is difficult. But oftentimes I think it's like the Matrix. We just get lost in reality and think it's doom and gloom. We give up hope. And when we're facing aging, when we're facing our parents that are aging and death is looming, and then we start thinking, well, when am I next? What is it that I can do to serve their last moment of their breath of their life? What can I contribute? And to me, life is about serving.
100%.
Right? And so, Kenya, we got about 5 minutes left.
Yes.
How does serving impact living as we age?
Well, I told you I was so glad I did this for my mama, that I went there and I spent this 4 days with her and had my son with me. And as I am talking, I catch myself saying, you know what? I actually did that for me. You see, when you serve, you're serving the person, yes, but because we are one, we are part of this global race called human race.
Right.
It just feels so good to serve. There's a part of me, there's a part of us that feels connected, that feels like you're living in purpose. And it could be anything. It could be as simple as giving somebody directions. It could be as simple as listening to someone or praying for someone, or just getting out of yourself. Making the world a better place is not just, mapped out your bucket list. It is. But how many of us, when we map out our bucket list, actually share? Because if I share my bucket list out loud, you probably know how to fulfill a couple of those and you give me tips. So you're serving. Do you see what I'm saying?
Right.
We, as a collective, when we use our voice, when you get out of ourselves, physically, emotionally, speaking, walking, taking a plane, we are contributing to all of us. We're contributing to a living reality that creates possibility for all of us. So I want to answer this in two different ways. If you identify yourself in this moment as being in suffering, I want you to raise your hand and get out of yourself. Don't try to get out of it on your own. If you could do it by yourself, you would have done it already. You are co-creating with the past version of you versus creating with the future version of you, because the future version of you is connected. Do whatever it takes. Reach out to a pastor, reach out to a therapist, reach out to me, reach out to Steve, reach out. Reach out. Otherwise, you will keep spinning. And it is totally normal that you will feel like not doing it because you feel shame, you feel apathy, you feel like people will judge. No one is judging. Your previous version of you is judging you. No one is judging. We want you happy. We love you. I love you. I don't even know you like by name, but I love you. That's what I'm doing here. We love you. The reason to be here in this podcast is to share the truth. That we're connected, we're one. And if you're living and you don't feel like life matters, then you're actually already in death. You're not in life. So you're just a ticking clock, just killing time. Oh my gosh, I get so triggered with my kids. I'm just killing time. I was like, no, time is a gift. Every breath counts. So the other way that I want to offer this closing is, what if every breath counts? What if your voice counts? What if your presence counts? What if your gifts count? What if your skill counts? Because it does. What if your smile counts? Because it does. So
when you think about,
Yes.
we got to close it. It's just being able to dig deep and give yourself permission to feel. We don't give each other permission to feel. And when we don't give each other permission to feel because we want to avoid the pain, we're not living life.
Yeah.
And, it's about, I had on the way from the university coming back home last night, I had a friend to give me a call and I could say, you're very heavy. What's going on? That's what we do, is to reach out to a friend to call and don't feel like it's a burden. Don't feel like it's an inconvenience. So to shift into being, recognizing where you are is accepting who you are, because we are that creator. We are inventors of being able to be life in itself. And it's about not allowing this doom and gloom to hit. And so until next time, I hate to end it on that note, but
we love you so much. It's
well.
Great. That note was great. We love you so much. Be in this breath. You matter.
Until next time, take care.
Thank you for joining us on this episode of Coach Soul, where we aim to empower and uplift you on your journey toward personal growth and well-being to become a better you. Remember, as you navigate through life, you don't have to do it alone. We encourage you to reach out to professionals, seek support from loved ones, and prioritize your own well-being. Stay tuned for future episodes with Steve Hudgins, filled with valuable insights and actionable tips. You have the power to thrive, and with Coach Soul by your side, anything is possible. Until next time, take care, stay empowered, and keep shining your brightest light. For more information, contact Coach at coachedsoul.com.